I honestly thought that my 20s were full of mistakes, but looking back and reflecting now, they were full of lessons learned, things that I'm still actively learning and practicing, and things that I will take on with me in my 30s.
Hey, I'm Tiffany, and this is Between Sessions. I'm not your therapist, just a real person talking about the stuff you're probably already spiraling about at 2 a.m. Growth, relationships, anxiety, boundaries, and becoming more self aware without pretending you've got it all figured out. If you're healing and still a little messy, welcome. You're in the right place.
Let's talk about it, y'all. So, this week I have made a list. As you guys know, I will be 30 next month. And though I have internally been freaking out, I'm really not scared. It's not a scary thing. It's just another year. And I think that my 30s are going to be phenomenal. My 20s were a whirlwind. And if you know me personally, you know how I started my 20s and how I ended my 20s are literally bipolar opposites. So I have compacted 7 lessons that I want to take from my 20s into my 30s, perfect them, which we know we don't do anything perfect, but make them better, like actively practice them in my day to day life and take them with me forever because I think that they're important. So, the first one that I just love and adore is you cannot fix people. You can't fix people. You cannot love someone into loving you more. You cannot see the potential in friends, family, relationships, and think that that is the end all be all because you can't fix people unless they want to be fixed. One thing that I learned in sobriety is that you cannot make anyone do something that they don't want to do. Of course, that translates in sobriety as you can't make someone get sober if they're not ready to get sober. But I think it follows through in life itself. You cannot make someone more emotionally available if they're not just emotionally available, right? You can't see the potential in someone and know that they can get and reach to places that they need to be and wait and be satisfied with that, because one thing that I think we fail at, especially in relationships, is seeing the potential in someone but not being able to make it through the work that they need to do it because they're not doing it on your time, at your pace, the right way, right, the right way that you think is right. So you just can literally not fall in love with potential, whether that is, again, friends, family, relationships, whatever. You cannot fix someone, especially if they don't want to be fixed. And me, I'm not your therapist, right? So in personal relationships, like whether they're intimate relationships or just my interpersonal relationships, I have tried to find, it's a very fine line, but I have tried to find the line of I'm not their therapist, I am just their friend, or I'm just their partner, or I am just their cousin, or I am just whatever, right? Their niece, their anything. I'm just that. I'm not there. I'm there to help them and there to give unsolicited advice, right? Very unlicensed advice, but I'm not there to fix them. I cannot fix someone who truly doesn't want to be fixed. The second one that kind of falls into the third one, so we'll talk about both, is that chemistry is sometimes not enough, y'all. When we are looking for partners, we often love the rush, love the passion, that insane attraction. We love that. But that does not always last. That will fade always, especially when you've been with someone for years and years. You start to see little things that could lead to the ick, right? But if they don't have that substance, or that, you guys can have chemistry, but if they are not safe, if they're not consistent, if they can't be with you in the middle of you crying or your worst day ever, then that chemistry doesn't always last. The rush of that. That also falls into the third one of you can't just settle. You don't have to settle for just someone who is good enough, right? So on the other hand of chemistry and that passion, and that crazy attraction, the insane attraction, the other hand is that safe, that calm, that home feeling without that. So without the chemistry, without the passion, without the drive, that's hard. And I think that we oftentimes find one or the other and we settle. But in reality, we need a mix of both. We need someone who's safe, someone who's going to sit with us after a long day and just let us cry or let us vent, someone who's going to answer the phone when my voice is shaky, someone who's going to step in and take over when I can't do anything. But then we also need the chemistry, we need the attraction, we need the constant chase, right? Everybody is talking about, oh, I'm not chasing nobody. We need to feel chased. Everybody needs to feel chased. And I think at some point there's a line between chasing and not being chased back, and then chasing and chasing, like on both ends. And so I think we have to forget about this, oh, I'm not chasing anybody. Well, you know what? You have to put in effort to get the effort back. It's not, these men can't, be in the mentality of, the woman has to chase us and we need to be treated well. And women can't be in, oh, men have to chase us and we need to be treated well. We both need to be doing the chasing, and we both need to treat each other right, treat each other overly, give what you want back. I think that, when I was younger, my mom always taught me, you treat others how you want to be treated. I'm going to treat you exactly how I want to be treated. And I am going to be a reflection of you as you should be a reflection of me, right? So I think that those two kind of go hand in hand, because you can't just be attracted to someone. You can't just, have this passion with someone. You have to have the steady, you have to have the calm, you have to have the we're okay even when things aren't okay. And those are things like I really did not think about, because I always chased the physical attraction. I always chased the, intense spark moments, but they never lasted. I really haven't shared this a whole lot, but we'll go ahead and get into it. The start of me moving to Oklahoma, super funny backstory, is I had traveled out here for the first time in 2023 with the guy that I was dating in Colorado. His family lives here in OKC, and I loved it. We came out here twice. We had a great time. It was amazing. Him and I are still friends, but we are no longer together. I then fast forward about 6 months, maybe 5 or 6 months, and I connected with another creator that lived in OKC, and I started coming out here once a month, and I started seeing him, and we jumped into, like, things were great, because when you don't see each other for 3 weeks out of the month and then you're seeing each other for 1 week, that week is amazing. The passion is there. The intense attraction, like it's there, right? So that made me, he asked me to move here. I applied to OU, got accepted, and the wheels started turning for that. Of course, that passion and that intense attraction it faded quickly, and there was not stability. There was not safety. I felt that this person could lead me to water and help me drink. Like, I just didn't feel that. There wasn't both. There wasn't a fair amount for both. No bad blood. I never leave relationships nowadays like hating anyone, but that passion faded out and we split. However, I had already started school at OU and had already made my plans, so I moved, and here we are a year later. I absolutely love it here, and I'm thankful that my life took that path. But I think that that's a prime example of the chemistry is not enough. The passion, the intense attraction is just not enough. You have to have the safety. You have to have someone who's going to be there with you through really rough times, right? So anyway, fun fact about me, I've literally never said that out loud on the internet, but here we are. Also, this one is like so important because, as you guys know, I have an older sister. She's 2.5 years older than me. She's married. She has a house and her career is at peak right now, and she's phenomenal. Love her down. She is a big role model in my life. However, I had always looked up to her and thought that my life needed to take those same roles. roles. Is that the right thing? Anyway, here and there. So my number 4 is your life doesn't have to look like everyone else's timeline. So marriage, kids, houses, careers, it does not have to meet everybody else's timeline. I think that like in my 20s, y'all, if we look back at 20 years old, I was in a long-term relationship. I was helping raise 2 kids. They were his. And I wanted to be a wife. I wanted to be a mother. That was like my end all be all goal. I was not focused on a career. I was not focused on my own peace, my own happiness. It was all in to this relationship. And those are my goals: marriage, kids, house. That failed quickly, and not quickly, we were together for 5 years. However, that turned so differently once we broke up. I then started to like see the world differently, and it felt free. This new freedom that I had, like being alone, it started making me realize that like the house, the kids, the marriage, the career was not something that I actually wanted to chase, and I was just enjoying life. I kind of went back and forth about being a mother or being a wife. And now, where I'm sitting at a month, almost a month, I don't even know what today's date is, till I'm 30, I don't know if I want kids, and I don't know if I want to get married. I think that right now, if kids happen, great. If not, okay, great too. And the same thing with marriage. Like if I get married, amazing. If I don't, then it is what it is. I think for me that if I want to take the time to date and find a partner, that's going to be more important for me to find the right partner than it is to just hurry and rush into that. My career, for example, as you guys know, I've been with the same company for 7 years. I work for a software company. Love it very much. It is steady, it is stable, it is consistent. The pay is good, the benefits are good, all of that. It gives me everything that I need to live. However, in the last couple years, I started realizing that it doesn't give me a purpose. And so I started searching for my purpose. And through helping others and people coming to me for advice that is very, very unsolicited, y'all. Please don't ever forget that. But people were coming to me and I felt that I was giving decent advice and they were receiving it and loving it, whatever. I don't tend to follow my own advice, but I do tend to give very good advice. So take that as you may. But as I was doing that, I found out that my purpose was to give back in a way that I never thought I would. And that was to become a counselor, to become a therapist. And as stated before, like help people through the hard times in their life that, be the person that I needed when I was going through hell. And I think that that's very important. And so still keeping a career in software, still creating content on TikTok for y'all, and now doing this podcast. I'm pursuing a career in counseling and therapy to become a therapist and to help people. And that is like purposeful to me. That feels good. You guys know that sobriety holds a very, very close place to my heart. And, my work will be that my population will be addiction. Early recovery is kind of where I like, but I will keep, be open to helping people in active addiction. So I'm excited about that. I'm also excited in trauma and crisis, the 988 line, being on call for like police departments when people are going through really tough things, and they need that crisis counselor right on site. That's something that also interests me because I know that there have been plenty of times in my life where not so fun things happened. And if I had someone other than a cop telling me, hey, like, this is your next step, to make sure that you're okay, I think that it would have went over a lot better for me. Love cops down, y'all know that, but I do believe that if it would have come from a relatable figure instead of an authority figure, it would have felt more safe. So hot take, but your life literally doesn't have to look like anybody else's timeline. Like your timeline is your timeline and that's it. And I do understand that we often like I'm almost 30 and I don't know if I want kids. If I do, don't, whatever. But like that ticking time that everybody's like, oh, you have to have kids before you're 30. Honey, I literally would not, I can't even keep my plants alive half the time. I would not have been able to keep a child alive. Just kidding. I would and will be a great mother if that's what I choose to be one day. But I'm just not there. Also, with housing, like, yes, it might be a goal of mine eventually down the road to own my own house or build my own house, whatever it looks like. But right now, renting is perfect for me because I don't have to do my lawn. I don't have to do the lawn. I don't even have to take my trash to the dumpster, y'all. I valet trash. I put it out the door. They come and get it. Love that for me. I don't have to worry about a leak. Or the other day, my toilet was acting up. I just called maintenance. They came out and fixed it. I didn't have to worry about that. I have a family member going through like sewage issues right now. Guess what? If that happens here for me, I just call maintenance. I don't have to pay that out of pocket expense. Those are things that just right now for me just don't work. And yes, could I mow my own lawn? Absolutely, but I don't have to. And that's convenient for me. So I think renting for me is convenient. And right now it works for my life. So I'm not in the process of buying a house. I'm not in a hurry to buy a house. That is maybe a goal, in the future, in my 5-10 year plan. But right now this works for me and I'm sticking to it. I'm not worrying about the next thing. And then we already went over the career. My career is just fine. And I'm searching for that purposeful one. So love that. My next one, there's 2 more, y'all. So number 6 is one thing that I have just learned in my 20s, y'all. Pay attention to patterns. Like, pay attention to patterns so much because when we don't, we ignore the red flags. We end up in the same situation. We attract the same personality types. So I literally just sent a snap to someone today and like went on this rant about, and this falls for friends and relationship partners. I had someone tell me, and they used to tell it to me all the time, and I hated it, but it must be nice. Like, that is a phrase that I try my hardest not to say to people because when it's said to me about like, oh, I'm taking this trip, or oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm buying that coffee every day, and someone's like, oh, must be nice. It is so nice, y'all. Like, it is so nice to be where I'm at today. I prayed in my 20s to be here, and I'm not even all the way where I want to be. So those type of people that like repeat the same patterns and don't want to change themselves, like they see what you have and they want it, but they're not willing to do the work because this shit wasn't easy, y'all. Okay. I'm not new to this. I grew to this. This life is not for the weak. Like, I have been through a lot. I've busted my ass to get where I'm at, still busting my ass every single day. School, work, podcast, content. I mean, it doesn't slow down, and I love this life. But when someone comes to me and they see, I often attract people, relationships, friends, men, women, attract people that see what I have and want it, but just literally once they find out the work that I put in, they're like, oh, I can't do that. But then they stay and they like suck the life out of me, and it's exhausting. But y'all know me, like, I just love that. So I think it's important. That was sarcasm if you couldn't tell, but I think it's important to pay attention to the patterns, and that is with everybody. In relationships, you pay attention to patterns because oftentimes, like, people think that we compare like our current partner to our past partners, but really, like, we see behaviors that we've seen before, and that is a behavior like we're not comfy with. Gotta go. Stop ignoring those red flags. Stop thinking, oh, well, I'll get used to it, or oh, it'll change. The person that you meet and that you're with in the beginning is the person that they are, period. Yes, people evolve and they grow, but they're not ever going, this goes back to the number 1, like, you can't fix people. They're never going to evolve and grow at your pace. And things, waiting on people to grow is literally like watching a kettle of tea boil. Like, it will take for fucking ever. So anyway, pay attention to the patterns. When you see things you don't like, leave. Keep people at a distance. If it's a friend or an acquaintance that you necessarily don't have to cut off, don't spend all your time and energy there. You know, take them in doses. Appreciate them as a person for whatever they offer you. And that's another thing. Life is not always transactional, but in the same breath, someone that you're dealing with, whether it's a partner, a friend, a family member, they should be giving you something, right? Like, it shouldn't be you constantly overdoing the work for the relationship to happen, constantly trying to make plans with them, constantly trying to teach them things or, you know, give them lessons and advice. Like, I always say, like, I'm going to give you this jewel to stick in your pocket and hopefully use for later, but I cannot make you use that jewel. Like, stick it in your pocket, it may be with them until they die. But hopefully, like, you take it out of your pocket and you use it later in life. But I can't make them do that. That's my rant. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk. That's literally what I did, y'all. Earlier in my Snapchat, I was just like, thanks for listening to my TED Talk. That's like my favorite thing. So last but not least, and I think that this one is so important because we all just, I think in our 20s, we think that like being around people and finding a partner is like so important. But number 7 for me is being alone isn't the worst thing, because it literally is not. Like, you find so much peace when you are happy to just be yourself and to be in your own home, in your own comfort, even if you have roommates, whatever, but being in your own space and feeling everything alone. Sobriety knocked me on my ass. I was like raw dogging the world. I had nothing to cope with everything that was going on. And I'll never forget, like, I mean, a lot of things happened in my early sobriety, but one of the worst things, I was like 2 years sober and my Nana died. And that was like the real true test of so much stuff, because I remember, this is going to be sad for a minute, but I remember when my brother passed that I turned to alcohol. Like, at night when I went home, I didn't have a partner. You know, that king size bed was really lonely, but alcohol was there. When my Nana passed away, I didn't have that same backbone, right? I had to like sit in those emotions, raw, real emotions with nothing to soothe those except for my own tears, right? So I think that like learning to be alone and like do everything in life alone, there is part of a peace about like knowing that you're going to be okay, right? I often say, like, relationships, partnerships, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever, they shouldn't be transactional to where you need them. Like, if you need your partner to survive, that becomes transactional and eventually resentments form. When you want that person in your life, that's so much more important. I don't need you, I want you. And that hits so much deeper, because I don't want you to rely on me 100%. I want you to be able, if I die tomorrow, I want you to be able to live. Also, if my husband, wife, whatever I choose, if they die tomorrow, I want to know how to pay bills. I want to make sure I can pay the bills financially. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to depend on anybody for anything. And that is so important to remember, that it's not a independence thing. It's if something bad happens, like whether that is they leave me, they die, I leave them, I die, whatever the case is, I think that that's so important. We have to have our own independence, and we can't be fully reliable on our partner. Being alone is okay. Once you learn to be alone, it's so much easier to be with someone. I find so much peace just being alone. Like, I literally, what time is it? It's like 7, I think. And my phone has been on silent since 7 p.m. last night. Like, silent, just silent. Like, if I pick it up and I have a text message, I'll get back to it. But I don't want it to ding. Like, I want to be able to focus. I have been alone all day today, and I've genuinely enjoyed it because I've been able to get work done. I've just kind of been in my peace, listen to my music, whatever. Like that alone is so nice. The first year that I was in Oklahoma, I really had to learn how to actually be alone 100%. I'm here. I don't know anybody. I didn't have friends. Like, you know, of course I've gained all of that now, relationships, but I didn't have anybody to rely on, and I had to be okay with that. And it was nice. It's okay to be alone, y'all. It's okay to be in your own feelings and feel your own thing. So being alone is okay. Let's recap. We'll go through all of them. So first and foremost, you can't fix people. Leave them where they're at, baby. Leave them back. 2 and 3 go together. Chemistry's not enough, and you don't have to settle just because someone is good enough. 4, your life doesn't have to look like anyone else's timeline. 5, y'all, I missed 5. That was only 6. Thought it was 7. Anyway, whatever number the fuck this is, pay attention to patterns. Don't ignore the red flags. You'll fall into the same consistent thing. 6, 7, last but not least, being alone is not the worst thing. It's okay to be alone. Don't stress if you don't have a partner. Don't stress if you don't have abundance amount of friends. Like, it's okay to sit in your own peace. It's okay to sit in your own silence. So I hope this helped. If this resonated with you, or you feel like someone, I'm freaking out because I'm turning 30, but I'm also not scared to turn 30. But I hope that this can help people older. I feel like it can help people way older than me because these are very valuable life lessons that I'm going to continue to practice in my 30s, 40s, 50s, so on and so forth, but also for people in their 20s. So if you have someone in their 20s that's struggling, send this to them. If you have someone in their 50s that could use this, send it to them. Share, y'all. Even if you think that you just want to talk shit about me, share it. We love it. Comment, like. I would appreciate all of it. Hope this helps. You guys learned a lot of new things about me, so I'm excited to see what else is learned. Thanks, y'all. Bye.